All right, so as I was saying, um, yeah, I just, my ex was suicidal. I just wanted to make sure that she was okay. Like I said, 3 months after the abortion, she was still talking to me on FaceTime, and she came over my place a few times. But then, about 4 months after the abortion, she had told me on FaceTime that she wanted to stop talking to me because she said that I had hurt her. But like I said, I think that it's because I was trying to make her feel better. So I was like, it's my fault, sweetie. I shouldn't have gone to see your baby dad and stuff like that. But really, the fact of the matter was, she was pregnant. She should have been respectful. She's pregnant with my baby. She had to be on bed rest. You know, yeah, I did feel bad because my mom should have helped take care of her. She wanted my mom to help. She wanted to meet my parents. But and yeah, I did make a mistake in getting mad at her daughter, but my ex was moving around too much and she's supposed to be on bed rest. But you know, and I'll get to this more in depth in a little bit, but it wasn't completely my fault. She wasn't responding to my texts. She was supposed to be on bed rest. I was concerned she was going to get an abortion because she had 3 abortions before. So, the fact that I was texting her and wanting to know what was going on. So, but anyways, um, I went to I went to my ex's place a few times to see if she was okay because she had told me that she was suicidal last time I talked to her, and I wanted to make sure that she was okay and that she wasn't gonna commit suicide. And so like I said, I told her friend Sylvie. Well, first I went to her mom's place to see if because I wanted to ask her mom. I wanted to tell her, listen, I'm worried about your daughter that she's suicidal. It's been causing me mental distress. Is it possible that you can tell me maybe like once a month, just text me or something, or so have maybe, if you don't want to do it, have your other daughter text me, my ex's sister, and just tell me like once a month, once every couple months, that my ex is doing okay, because I didn't want her to commit suicide because I was really concerned about that. And but like I said, I never met her mom and I never met her sister, but I went to her sister's place. Sister didn't respond. And I went to the mom's place and the mom yells at me, get out of here, I'm going to call the police. So then I left. And then, as I said, I talked to Sylvie, who's this Jewish girl who's my ex's friend. And Sylvie is a hippie drug addict. She runs festivals and stuff. And she hangs out with a lot of the hippie drug addicts, and like I said, a lot of the people I hung out with a lot of these people. A lot of them are Jewish, but some of them aren't Jewish. But like a lot of the Jewish girls hang out with black guys. They have sex with black guys. They'll be in harems with black guys. They'll be used. The black guys will pimp out girls, and the girls. These girls are very brainwashed, but they think that they're smart. They're like, yeah, we're just free. We're just free sex, and we're polyamory, but we're open-minded. No, they're just Satanists, and they are clearly Satanists, and a lot of them are, not all of them are Jewish, but a lot of them are Jewish, but not all of them. But a lot of it's just satanic, self-indulgence, polyamory, and a lot of the Jewish girls, I think the reason why they do it, and Jewish guys are involved too, like Jewish girls and Jewish guys, but a lot of the, I think the reason why a lot of Jewish people get involved in it is because they're anti-religion, because they see religion as white supremacist. So then and they probably see things in a Darwinian sense, and they just want to do self-indulgence. They want to be kind of satanic to be anti-religion because they see religion as because they're more Marxist, but that's what I kind of figured out. But I'll get into that. But so my ex, I talked to this girl Sylvie because I wanted her to help me to get back in contact with my ex, because I wanted to be able to talk to my ex and I just wanted to be able to talk to her and just tell her, hey, listen, every once in a while, we definitely don't have to date, because I don't even think I would have dated her at the time, because I knew that she was going to go back to hanging out with Sylvie, and who's a drug addict, and the polyamorous, Satanist, the leftist crowd, basically satanic, evil people. That they're just a lot of them are anti-white. Like I said, it's a lot of the reason why a lot of the Jewish people get involved in that is because it's anti-white, and they're anti-religion, anti-white, and there'll be the Free Palestine type of people. Like, they'll go to the Free Palestine rallies, and and a lot of them are into like because they're anti-Nazi, so they're into like transgender stuff. So I went to places with them and stuff, and there are a lot of gay people and transgender people, and they're into like was it BDSM stuff, because they're satanic, they're anti-morality, anti-religion, anti-Christianity especially. So they're into BDSM, tranny stuff. They're just, that's the way a lot of them are. And like I said, I think a lot of Jewish people are that way because they're anti-Nazi. So they think a lot of the Jewish people get involved in like transgender rights and let's go to the parties with the trannies, and we'll do drugs because that's anti-religion, and drugs is cool. Like Shiva made the drugs. Shiva made the weed, but these people think like, no, Shiva's God, but they don't realize that Satan worships Shiva. Shukracharya is the planet of Venus. He worships Shiva. But it's a left-handed path. And a lot of these people, regardless. My ex was a drug addict, and she had a Jewish stepdad who was a psychologist. Maybe he taught her like, yeah, free sexuality is healthy, But so, and also probably she had mental issues because her own dad abandoned. Her own dad was or her mom ditched her white dad for a Jewish guy. She was an Italian woman. So regardless, my ex probably had mental issues, and so she got involved with the crowd, when she hanging out with Sylvie, who's a drug addict, and doing drugs with them, and just self-indulgence, Satanism, So anyways, but I knew that Sylvie was her friend, so I asked my friend Johnny to get in touch with Sylvie, because I went on a double date with Sylvie and my ex, so to get in touch with Sylvie so that Sylvie could get me back in touch with my ex. And I just wanted my ex to be able to talk to me like once a month, or text me once a month, maybe just like a letter J, just so I know she's still alive. Because like I said, I was worried she was going to kill herself after the abortion. So, because she told me she was really suicidal, that was the last time I talked to her. She told me she was suicidal. So, I was very concerned. So then, like I said, Sylvie tells me after I talked to her, she's like, like I said, Sylvie was pro-abortion, and she's a feminist. She's very into feminism, and like I said, a lot of Jewish leftists will be like, yeah, feminism, because that's anti-religion and anti-Christianity. So like, I remember she would like post with like Wonder Woman outfit, and I'm Sylvie, I'm ugly. So but anyways, she tells me after I talked to her, she says that, yeah, my ex will talk to me in a month. But she tells me that she needs to track my phone so to make sure that I don't go to my ex's apartment, because I told her I was concerned she was going to kill herself. So I was driving to her place all the time to check her car to see if she was still alive, to see if she was moving her car. So she says, okay, well, if you're stalking her, then you have to let me track your phone for a month. And if you don't follow her for a month, then we will, then you can talk to her again. So I was like, okay, Sylvie, you fucking bitch. So then, but I didn't say bitch, but I was just like, okay, cool. So, I give her let her track my phone, and then, and my friend Johnny, who, like I said, he was a Haitian guy, and he was a part of like a race war apparently in Phoenix. He's a felon, but my friend told me he was a part of a race war against white people and stuff. So he's very into the transvestites, and he's a drug addict and drug dealer and everything. So I'm with him, and he was supposed to help me with this whole situation, to get back in touch with my ex. But so then Sylvie, who's a drug addict, loser, she tells me, okay, well, I have to track your phone. You're a creep. You're a creep. You think that abortions are bad? Ooh, you're a weirdo. She has fucking problems, dude. So I remember she said something negative about me, like saying something like, it's not a big deal about abortions. And I forget what she said, but she really pissed me off. She has some sort of personality disorder. But So, and then at the end, to top it off, she tells me out of nowhere, she says, I'm a lesbian. And I was like, okay, well, in my mind, I'm like, why would you tell me you're a lesbian? If not to try to make me jealous or something, like maybe you're trying to tell me that you've hooked up with my ex. So I was like, have you ever hooked up with my ex? And she was like, I kissed her one time before, but it's not a big deal. Like and she was like, your ex isn't a lesbian. And I was like, of course she's not a lesbian, you idiot. Like, I didn't say that, but in my mind, I'm like, of course she's not a lesbian, you fucking idiot. But, I don't know what the fuck she was trying to do, trying to make me jealous. Like, and again, she sees herself as Jewish. So she's like, I'm a lesbian, I'm free, and this is anti-religion, and I'm a Satanist. So I'm like, I hate that girl, dude. So, so she tells me that, and then yeah, so then she told me that in a month my ex would talk to me again. So, but then like the next day, I remember I texted Sylvie because I was like, because after she told me she was a lesbian, I told her, they've done studies, like the Kinsey, and most women or almost all women are have lesbian tendencies, and then Sylvia was like, no, that's not true. So then I texted her the next day and I was like, sorry, actually, I actually heard one study that suggests that no woman is completely a lesbian, but I was just saying that, and I wasn't saying it to be mean. I was just saying it because I was trying to start conversation, and even I was, and my point was like, and I was posting something about like Kinsey, like there's I was trying to be progressive, like there's a continuum of sexuality, but I just wanted to start a conversation because she was the one who brought up the whole that she was a lesbian thing. So I just texted her, and then Johnny calls me. He's like, dude, what the fuck? Sylvie says she's not gonna do the deal anymore, and your ex isn't gonna talk to you next month. I was like, dude, we'll just tell Sylvie that I'll. He says, unless you give Sylvie $40, she's not gonna continue with the deal. So I was like, okay, fine. So I sent Sylvie $40, and then Sylvie said that she will continue with the deal. That in a month, my ex will talk to me, right? So, but then I got a knock on my door, like 3 days later, and it was the police or the sheriff, and he handed me a restraining order, temporary restraining order. And so I called Johnny. I was like, dude, I got a temporary restraining order. Is my ex, is the deal still on? And he was like, yeah. He told me that my ex got the temporary restraining order before they made the deal. So he told me, in a month, she said that according to Sylvie and according to my ex, they're not going to do the temporary restraining order. And he said in a month, you will be talking to, your ex will talk to you again, and just, don't worry about the temporary restraining order. So I was like, okay. And so, but then like I went to my grandma's house, and I didn't want them to know where I lived. And remember, Sylvie was tracking my phone. So I went to my grandma's house and I turned off my phone while I went to my grandma's house. But then, I texted Johnny. I said, hey dude, I'm going to go to my grandma's house. I'm just going to turn off my phone for a minute just so I can go to her house, because I don't want Sylvie to know where my grandma lives. But Johnny was like, dude, you went to your ex's house. You went to your ex's preschool. I'm a fucking retard. You went to your ex's preschool, dude. This fucking, he's a black guy, but he's a Haitian guy, but he's always like, he's trying to be on like the girl side, and he's like, I'm into polyamory, and I'm on like these whore side. I'm on the side of the whores, and yeah, I'm on Sylvie's side, even though she's a stupid whore, and you bad male, you're a bad man, and I'm a stupid retard. So he's like, dude, what the fuck, man? You went to your ex's daughter's school, and now you're sad that Sylvie knows where your grandma lives? You went to your ex's house, your ex's mom's house, dude. He's trying to make me out to be the bad guy. And he's like, if you want to be a part of the deal, then you just have to, you have to not care if Sylvie knows where your grandma lives. You just have to, if you want to see your ex next month, and trying to make me out to be the bad guy. And I'm like, dude, you fucking idiot. Do you have any idea why I went to my ex's daughter's school? It's because my ex was supposed to be on bed rest. First off, she's cheating on me while she's pregnant, but she's supposed to be on bed rest. She's acting like an idiot. She's moving around Kids Empire, and then she's not responding to my texts. She tells me that in order for the baby to survive, I need to be taking care of her. And then she's not responding to my text. She's being disrespectful. And I'm concerned about my baby's life. So I went to her daughter's preschool because she was supposed to be on bed rest. She's not responding. She said that in order for the baby to survive, I need to be taking care of her. She's not responding to me. So I went to talk to the principal to let her know what was going on, so I could talk to the baby dad to see if someone could help take care of her daughter, because she can't be on bed rest and be taking care of her daughter at the same time. So why does that make me crazy? Why does that make me a bad guy? But my friend's like, dude, you went to your, trying to make me out the bad guy. You went to your ex's preschool. Ooh, like I was a bad guy, like I was stalking her daughter or something. And that's what my ex tried to make it seem like. And I'm going to get to that. She tried to make it seem like I'm some sort of stalker, like I was stalking her daughter and I was stalking her parents. No, her parents fucked up too. What the hell? I went to try to talk to her parents. So before that she murdered my daughter, I went to her fucking parents to try to talk to them so I can say, hey guys, I would like my daughter not to be murdered. You know, your daughter is, she's supposed to be on bed rest. Can you guys help out in this situation? And that's why I went to the parents' house, but I never got the chance to talk to them. And like I said, the time when I went to her parents' house was the day that my ex got the abortion. So, and I'm some sort of bad guy because I went to her parents' house. I'm the bad guy. No, I'm not the bad guy, dude. So, and then the other thing was like, yeah, and then like I said, I went to her parents' house because I was hoping that people would treat me with some respect and dignity, and I'd be able to talk to her parents and be like, hey, I'm concerned your daughter is suicidal. Last time she talked to me, is it possible because it's having a detrimental effect to my mental health? Can I please be able to talk to you guys so that maybe every once in a while you guys can let me know, maybe text me if you don't want to talk to me, if you want to be fucking evil people and not talk to me, maybe you could text me maybe once a month, once every couple months, and just let me know that my ex is still alive and that she's okay, because I'm concerned because she said she was suicidal last time I talked to her, and because after the abortion she wanted to kill herself. So why is that a big deal that I went to her parents' house so that I can ask them for that? But he's like, dude, you went to her parents' house. She never invited you to her parents' house. Like I'm some sort of creep. Like I'm some sort of bad guy that I was trying to harass her parents and I was trying to like cause chaos. No, I was just trying to do fucking responsible stuff from the very beginning. I was the responsible one. And every time I went to her parents' house, I never did anything negative. I wasn't like banging on their door. I was being very, very calm. And when her mom yelled at me, get out of here, I'm calling the police, I left. I didn't do anything bad, but stupid fucking Johnny's like, oh, dude, man, you're the bad guy. You went to her daughter's school. You don't know the fucking story, you fucking idiot. So, yeah, so basically, and like I said, he's a drug addict, drug dealer, and he's basically, so, and he's like, he tries to be polyamorous. He's a Satanist, and so so basically, and he hangs out with, it's a long stuff, but they hang out with the satanic people, a lot of Russians, a lot of people who are satanic people. But, so, I'm being made out to be the bad guy. I was not the bad guy. I was being mistreated. So, but anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to turn off my thing so Sylvie can track me. So, I kept my thing on. And for the whole month, I had my phone being tracked by Sylvie. But then, when the court date came, I asked Johnny before the court date, I was like, do I need to go? Do I need to go to this court date? And Johnny was like, he said you'll talk to Sylvie and talk, and Sylvie's going to talk to my ex. And then, so the court date came, and then, Sylvie, and then he told me, no, he said, no, your ex isn't going to go to the court date. Sylvie told me your ex isn't going to go to the court date. She said she's not going to go. My ex said she's not going to go. So he said, you don't have to go. So I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't really trust him because of the way that he was talking to me before. So I went to the court date anyways, and my ex was there. So my ex tried to make me not go to the court date because what she wanted to get a restraining order against with me against her whole family. And she thought if I didn't go to the court date, then they would successfully get the restraining order against the whole family. So I went to the court date, and they did, and I asked for a postponement. So I'll get to that. But like before this, I didn't send any texts to my ex. I didn't go to her place at all. So I was just like, yeah, I want a postponement. So we'll do the court date in a month. So I'll get to what happened. So, but basically, yeah. So then the next month, I had the court date. But that whole month, I sent a ton of texts to my ex, just saying like, sweetie, I love you. Please stay strong. Please never hurt yourself, because I was so afraid she was gonna kill herself. And I kept on texting her that. But I was like, sweetie, do not do this. Do not get a restraining order against me. I'm not a danger to you. Please, there's a better way to do it than this. Like, why do you have to get a restraining order against me? I was saying, please, but in my mind, the main thing I wanted was I was afraid she was going to kill herself. So I'm just saying, please stay strong. Please never hurt yourself. So that's when I started texting her, and I was texting her, Sylvie, and stuff that I was angry at them and stuff like that. But so I'll get to what happens next.